And go. Welcome to Monster Party Studio. Today I will be showing you how I cast a latex mask out of a 2-part ultracal mold using slip latex. And we're going to do a double pour, which means we'll pour it once, we'll wait for it to dry, and then we're going to pour it another time. Once the mask dries, we'll pull it out, and I'll teach you how I trim it, what scissors I like to use for trimming and why, what technique I like for seaming. It's pretty simple. There's different techniques, people like different things, but this is the one that I typically use. It works for me. And yeah, it's gonna be a pretty short one, so I hope you like it. And these are gloves. I will not be showing you how to make them, but the mask that I make on my Etsy store, I sell it with these gloves. So they're pretty cool. You can play instruments with them, hint hint. So I hope you like it, thanks. Okay, so I'm going to be painting latex inside of the mold. That's the first step. The reason why I do that is because although I will be pouring the latex straight into the mold, I want to prevent air bubbles from developing and forming around any of the crevices. So this is called a beauty coat or a detailed coat. I took the lenses that I was going to use for this mask and I molded them, and then I cast them out of urethane and put bolts inside of them so then they could bolt to the mold. When I pull it out, those cavities will be the exact shape of the lens that's going to sit inside of the mask. I'll give both sides of the mold a good coating. When it's dry, I'll go ahead and close the mold and I will pour the latex inside. I closed the mold. I've already poured in a bit of latex all the way to the top, let it dwell for an hour or so. This is actually my second pour, and I filled it up to the top. Now I'm going to wait a little bit longer because this latex is a little bit thinner. And also, since there has already been a layer of latex that's surrounding the mold, the stone won't be able to suck up the moisture out of the latex in the same way that it did the first time. So this time I'm going to let it dwell for maybe 3 hours. Okay, so the second coat's almost dry. In the depths of the mask, you can see it's still a little bit wet. It's whiter than the rest. Latex dries yellow. So the mask has been pulled from the mold. There are still several things that need to happen. For instance, the flashing around the seam line is extremely visible, so we have to cut that off completely. We're going to trim that with scissors and fill it with latex. And then I'll also trim all of this excess latex from the collar. I use a set of embroidery scissors. They're curved. And these cost like $15 to $18. I'll link to them at the bottom. That's the company that makes those scissors. They come with a little cap. I really like them. If anybody has a better suggestion, I have not been able to find any other scissors like these with the curve. So, and they're really nice because then you can get really up close to the surface of the latex because you want it to be flush. So I'm pulling on the latex to get the majority of it, and this is actually pulling really nicely. Pull, trim, pull, trim, whoops, pull, trim. Now I'll show you why I don't like using regular scissors. These are really dirty. Don't mind the dirt. It's really hard to get the blade right up to that surface. It ends up leaving a huge lip, and then that's really hard to cut. So here's the difference. Regular scissors that are fat and don't want to cut your seam line, embroidery scissors right up to that seam line. I'm just putting the latex on the seam line. I just use my finger and I dab it. Some people like to thicken it with Cavicel, but I don't, because you can just work in layers, and Cavicel is really toxic. I just let it sit until it dries, and then if it needs more, I'll just do more. And if you're in a hurry, you can blow dry it. smoothing it out with my finger. So that's how I patch latex. Now I'm gonna hit it with a blow dryer and then you'll see what it looks like just in that one pass. Okay, so I've been drawing it and I'll probably do another pass of this latex here. Once you paint this mask, the seam will be invisible. I've trimmed the collar and patched the seam line, filled it with latex. I will try to have videos up every week or so. I also have a list to all the products that I used below, as well as a link to my Etsy store if you're interested in a mask like this, inspired by Figure and Dan and the Moto Nodes, the Cantina band in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Thanks for watching. Bye. I don't have lenses for this. They do come with lenses, so. Okay.